Want to know how to actually attract women? Not with lines, not with chasing, not with pretending to be someone you're not. Today I'm going to give you 3 key points that change the whole dynamic: how women see you, how they treat you, and why some men get respect without begging for it. But listen, this is not for everyone. If you want quick tricks while staying the same man, click off. This is only for men who are tired of feeling ignored, tired of being taken for granted, tired of doing too much and getting too little. And I'll be honest with you, this will be the longest video I have ever made. Because I'm not here to motivate you for 5 minutes. I'm here to break it down properly with the details most people skip. Because these 3 points don't just help you attract women. They expose where you've been losing yourself. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Firstly, you have to become the man people respect. Not the loud man. Not the fake alpha. Not the man who tries too hard to impress. The man whose energy says, I know who I am, and I'm not here to beg for my place. Because attraction without respect is temporary. But attraction built on respect, that's stable. That's the kind that makes a woman think twice before playing with you. Now ask yourself this, seriously. How can I become the man people respect? I'm going to show you 3 ways to make people actually respect you. Real respect. The kind you don't have to demand. Let's begin. 1. Respect yourself first. This is where it begins. Because people can only treat you as well as you treat yourself. And I don't mean self-respect as a quote. I mean real self-respect. Something people can feel in your behavior. Because if you don't respect yourself, you'll keep doing things that quietly destroy your value. You'll tolerate confusion. You'll accept disrespect and call it love. You'll laugh at things that insult you. You'll stay available even when you're being taken for granted. And the crazy part is, you won't even notice you're doing it. You'll just tell yourself, I'm being patient. I'm being understanding. I'm being a good man. But deep down, you're teaching people one message. You can treat me anyhow, and I'll still stay. A man who respects himself moves differently. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't over-explain his worth. He doesn't panic when a woman gets distant. Not because he's heartless, because he's grounded. And here's the punchline. When you respect yourself, you stop trying to be chosen. And you start choosing. You start respecting your time. You start respecting your peace. You start respecting your standards. You start respecting your word. And women feel that. Not because you said it, because you live it. But here's where most men fail. They think respecting themselves is just a mindset. They talk big, but their life has no rules. They still fold the moment they fear losing her. That's why the next step matters even more. Because self-respect without protection is just a thought. And that's where boundaries come in. 2. Set clear boundaries. Boundaries are not you being rude. Boundaries are not you acting tough. Boundaries are not you trying to control a woman. Boundaries are you saying calmly, this is what I allow around me. Because if you don't draw a line, people will draw it for you. And they will draw it in a way that benefits them, not you. And watch how disrespect usually starts. It's not always dramatic. It's often small. A little coldness with no explanation. A little late reply like, you don't matter. A little I'll see energy that keeps you waiting. A little attitude because she thinks you won't check it. Most men notice it, but they don't want to risk losing her. So they stay quiet. Then it grows. Then one day they explode. Then they look emotional. Then they lose even more respect. So boundaries save you from that. A boundary is you deciding early what you accept and what you don't, then acting like you mean it. And this is important. Boundaries are not speeches. A lot of men destroy their own power by talking too much. They write paragraphs. They explain their pain. They beg to be understood. But the truth is, if someone really respects you, you don't need to convince them to act right. So your boundaries should be simple, clear, clean. You don't argue. You don't chase. You don't threaten. You adjust access. Because the moment you start negotiating your standards, you stop being respected. Now here's the part that separates men. Anyone can say, I have boundaries. But if you don't enforce them, you don't have boundaries. You have wishes. And women can feel wishes. Wishes don't hold weight. But when you enforce boundaries without drama, something changes. Your presence starts to feel expensive. And that leads to the third part. Because boundaries are not mainly what you say. Boundaries are mainly what you do. And that's why the next one hits harder. 3. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Words are easy. Anybody can talk. A man can say, I respect myself, while still begging for attention. A man can say, I have standards, while still tolerating nonsense. A man can say, I'm serious, while living like he has no direction. Women don't respect what you claim. They respect what you consistently live. So if you want to be that man people respect, your actions must match your standards. If you say you don't tolerate disrespect, you can't keep rewarding it with more attention. If you say you value peace, you can't keep entertaining chaos. If you say you have self-respect, you can't keep staying where you feel small. And here's the punchline most men need. The strongest message is not a long explanation. The strongest message is your behavior. Sometimes the most masculine thing you can do is not argue. It's to adjust. You step back. You reduce access. You go quiet. You let your absence do the talking. Not to punish her, not to play games, but because your dignity is not something you debate. And the moment your actions become consistent, people start taking you seriously. Because now you're not just talking like a man. You're moving like one. So when you put these 3 together, self-respect, boundaries, and actions, this is what happens. You stop looking like a man trying to be accepted. You start looking like a man who already has value. And that's the type of man women don't play with. That's the type of man women become curious about. Now, once you become a respected man, you've handled the foundation. But here's where most men get stuck. They build respect, then they stop growing. And that's why the second main point matters even more. Secondly, level up. Because being respected is the foundation, but it's not the full house. Respect makes a woman take you seriously, but growth makes her stay interested. And this is where a lot of men confuse things. They think attraction is just about being a good man. They think if they're polite, consistent, available, and generous, it should automatically work. But the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards value. And a woman can respect you and still not feel drawn to you the way you want, if your life feels small, stagnant, and predictable. So when I say level up, I don't mean pretending to be rich. I don't mean trying to compete with other men. I don't mean becoming arrogant. I mean becoming so grounded and improving so consistently that your life starts to carry weight. And when your life carries weight, your presence carries weight. Now ask yourself this: how do I level up in a way that changes my attraction naturally? It comes down to 3 things, and they go in order. 1. Reprogram your mind. Your life will never outgrow the way you think, because your mind is where your habits are born, and your habits are what women experience. If your mind is weak, your life becomes weak, even if you're talented. And most men don't have a money problem or a women problem. They have a thinking problem. They wake up already defeated. They doubt themselves before trying. They assume rejection before speaking. They call discipline stress. They call consistency too hard. Then they wonder why women don't take them seriously. Reprogramming your mind means you stop living on autopilot. You start checking the beliefs that are running your life like hidden software. Beliefs like, I'm not enough. I have to impress her. I can't lose her. Women always leave. I'll start when I feel ready. Those beliefs sound normal until you realize they control your behavior. And women don't fall for your words. They respond to your behavior. So if your mind is programmed with fear, you will move with fear. You'll chase. You'll overthink. You'll get jealous. You'll seek reassurance. You'll try to control outcomes. And none of that is attractive. Reprogramming your mind means you start building a different identity. You become a man who doesn't need to be liked to feel valuable. You become a man who doesn't collapse when things don't go his way. You become a man who doesn't react emotionally to every test. You start thinking long-term. You start thinking like a builder. Because attraction is not built by a man who is always reacting. Attraction is built by a man who is directing his life. And once your mind starts changing, you'll notice something. Your standards become easier. Your boundaries become easier. Your calm becomes easier. Because now you're not trying to act confident. You're becoming confident. But here's where most men fail. They change the mindset for 2 days. Then they go back to the same distractions. That's why the next one matters even more. 2. Lock in. Locking in is the difference between a man who dreams and a man who becomes. Because motivation is a liar. It shows up when you feel good and disappears when life hits you. Locking in means you do the work even when you don't feel like it. You stop living like your mood is the boss. And this part is not sexy, but it's powerful. Locking in means you remove what is weakening you. You reduce the distractions that steal your focus. You stop feeding addictions that kill your drive. You stop chasing quick pleasure that makes you lazy. Because a man who can't control himself will never feel powerful. And women can sense that too. They can sense when a man is undisciplined. They can sense when he's impulsive. They can sense when his life has no structure. A man who is locked in becomes harder to shake. He doesn't need constant entertainment. He doesn't need constant attention. He doesn't need a woman to feel alive. He has direction. And direction is attractive because it makes you feel like a man with a future. Now listen. Locking in doesn't mean you become boring. It means you become dangerous to your old self. You stop making excuses. You stop starting tomorrow. You stop negotiating with your potential. And when you lock in, your confidence starts becoming quiet. Not loud confidence. Not the fake one. The calm type that doesn't need to announce itself. But here's the truth. Locking in 1 week won't change your life. That's why the next part completes it. 3. Be consistent. Consistency is what separates men who look attractive for a moment from men who become attractive long-term. Because women don't fall in love with your good days. They respond to what stays. If you're disciplined today and lazy tomorrow, you confuse everyone. If you're focused today and emotional tomorrow, you lose weight. If you're improving today and disappearing tomorrow, you lose momentum. Consistency is when you become predictable in the right way. Not predictable like boring. Predictable like stable, reliable, solid. And here's the part people don't say enough. Consistency changes your face. It changes how you stand. It changes how you speak. It changes your energy. A man who is consistent starts to look like someone who keeps promises to himself. And a man who keeps promises to himself is respected. So when you keep showing up, day after day, week after week, you start building something powerful. Self-trust. You start trusting your own word. And when you trust yourself, you stop chasing validation from women. That's why consistency is not just about money or fitness. It's about becoming a man who believes in himself. Now look at what just happened. When you reprogram your mind, you stop thinking like a victim. When you lock in, you stop living like a distracted boy. When you stay consistent, you stop being a man of potential. You become a man of results. And that results in energy is what attracts women without you begging for anything. But here's where most men still mess up. They level up and become respected. Then they start acting fake. They start copying other men. They start forcing an image. They start performing a personality. And the woman can feel it. And that's why the third point matters. Thirdly, be yourself. And I don't mean that soft advice people throw around when they have nothing real to say. Because be yourself without context can make a man lazy. It can make a man stay the same and call it authentic. That's not what we're doing here. This point is here because a lot of men do the first two things and still lose the girl. They become respected, then they start acting like a robot. They level up, then they start acting like a character. They improve their life, then they forget how to be natural. And the woman feels it. She might respect you. She might even admire you. But she doesn't feel connected to you because you're not present, you're performing. So being yourself is not about staying the same. Being yourself is about becoming so comfortable in your own skin that you stop trying to sell yourself. Because the truth is, the moment you start trying too hard to be impressive, you start losing the very thing that makes you attractive: ease. Now ask yourself this: am I showing who I really am? Or am I trying to be the version I think she will approve of? Because approval chasing is loud even when you're silent. It shows up in the way you agree with everything she says. It shows up in the way you hide your real opinions. It shows up in the way you laugh too hard. It shows up in the way you avoid saying no. It shows up in the way you keep adjusting yourself just to keep her comfortable. And women feel that as weakness, not because you're a bad person, but because you're not leading your own life. A man who is himself doesn't need to force anything. He speaks naturally. He doesn't rehearse his personality. He doesn't try to sound perfect. He doesn't try to be liked by everyone. And that's what makes him attractive. He feels real. Because a lot of women are tired too. They're tired of men who pretend. They're tired of men who switch up. They're tired of men who wear a mask just to get access. So when you are yourself, in a mature way, you give her something rare. Clarity. She doesn't have to guess who you are. She can feel it. Now, let me make this practical. Being yourself means you stop hiding your standards just to keep peace. It means you stop acting cool when something bothers you, then exploding later. It means you stop acting uninterested when you actually like her, just to look alpha. It means you stop copying other men's swagger and start owning your own presence. Because the goal is not to be a character. The goal is to be a man with a stable identity. And this is where everything connects. When you become a man people respect, you stop accepting nonsense. When you level up, you stop being a man of empty talk. When you become yourself, you stop being a man who performs. So now you're not trying to attract women with effort. You're attracting women with who you've become. But here's where most men still need the reminder. Being yourself doesn't mean you show every emotion in every moment. It means you stay honest, but you stay controlled. It means you're confident, but you're not arrogant. It means you're calm, but you're not passive. It's the balance. And that balance is what makes a man feel masculine without trying too hard. Now, if you've really understood these 3 points, you'll notice something. You won't be confused anymore. You won't be asking, "What should I text?" every time. You won't be begging for signs. You won't be losing sleep because someone is inconsistent. Because you'll finally be moving from one place, self-respect. And when that becomes your foundation, attraction stops being something you chase. It becomes something you create. If you've listened to this far, you already know the truth. Attraction is not something you beg for. It's something you build. You become the man people respect. You level up. You stay yourself, without performing, without chasing approval. And don't rush this. Don't try to change overnight like it's a trend. Take your time, apply it in real life, and watch how people start responding differently to you. There are many other signs and deeper lessons we could talk about. But I wanted you to master the foundation first. And remember, women are different. Not every situation is the same. So don't make a fast decision that can damage your life later. Think, observe, move with standards, not emotions. If this helped you, like the video so it reaches more men who need it. Subscribe if you want more mature, real-life guidance like this. And comment